Suseira, you are a beautiful girl and you sing so beautifully and dance so beautifully, so talented.
Thank you.
What is your wish for the future, Suseira?
I would like to become a doctor.
You want to become a doctor, okay. Why would you like to become a doctor?
So when my mom or someone in my family is sick, I can help them.
Okay, yeah. But you know, I think you'll be the singing doctor. And you will probably heal people with your singing as well.
That's a great question. I have always been one of those who likes to control my life. You know, my life needs to be in control. But what I've realized is I'm starting to let life flow. In other words, things will happen when they're meant to happen. And the more you try and push something, the more you're pushing it away, rather than letting it come to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So right now, I just, I'm going to get my instructor rating, hopefully by the end of the month, if not the beginning of next month. I'm going to start running these CRM courses for instructors, because I believe our instructors are the ones who are going to pass on the information to the base of aviation, your PPL students and that. And if they have a solid grounding in the human skills and the human factors side of aviation, then possibly that will help them instruct in a different way. Possibly it will help them inspire the next generation who will, as one thing leads to another, inspire the next generation. So my wishes right now is just to give of my best, and I suppose give of my best back to the industry. I'm very fortunate in the people who've helped me, and now it's time to pay it forward as such. That's how I look at it, yeah.
My wish for the future is for me to continue to grow as an artist and to be able to help other people grow, and to express that through my work, and for people to be able to receive that my work is about spiritual. It's about, really trusting our guidance, and to trust your heart and to follow your heart and find love, and love in every form. I try to express that love and that understanding within my work, and I hope it is a reminder for people to feel it and to seek it within themselves.
To ask you, what is your wish for the future?
Okay, for the future of myself, I think I will never retire. I will teaching class until 90 years old, until the day I die. That's what I want. Because ballet is my only passion. I love ballet. I just cannot imagine. Sometimes, we have break, right? Like summer break or whatever. When I have break, it's not enjoyable, okay? I just feel frustrating. I'm not doing dance. I'm not doing anything, doing nothing. That's killing me. So I don't want to retire. I want to keep going. Yes, keep going, okay? And also, I really want for the whole community, I want the adult ballet. Since 2014, I started my school. I love adult ballet more and more. I want myself to get, always have potential to make better. I want teaching even better for my adult students. And also I want the whole adult community really stronger and stronger. Let people spread that to people. Ballet is for everybody. It's not just for kids, no matter your age. Whenever you are in your life stage, if you want to do the ballet, always the right time. Don't wait. Always the right time to start. If you really love the ballet or love anything, or singing, whatever, don't let the age, the body, or whatever, don't let so much excuse stop you. Do it.
Oh dear. My wishes are probably don't stop. I would say my wish is to carry on being as excited and energetic as I am now in working with children and working with different projects, working with the orchestras and the choirs. Don't lose that faith in myself, and I would say carry on creating for our communities, for our children, and try to do as much as I can musically.
You know, Petra, when a few years ago, I often went to Europe to play concerts there, you know, and I played a lot of South African repertoire on the organ with works that, like Stefans Grewe and so on, Africa hymns, and he wrote 3 of them, and where he imitates the sounds of Africa. And it also always had been such a privilege for me to go to Europe and introduce this fantastic music that we have. And it's actually more appreciated in Europe, I think, than in South Africa, you know, because we know the sounds, but in Europe, to sit in an old cathedral and to come and play music that tells the folklore of Africa and imitating the drums and the birds of Africa there in that setting makes it a real fantastic experience. So at the moment, I'm a bit in limbo because of the COVID story, you know. So of the concerts that I had was cancelled, and we need to see what's going to happen, you know, when things are going to open up again and we get chance to play. I would love to play in Europe again, especially next year this year, when Grewe, he was born in 1922, so this is his centenary. So I hope to play some of his works again this year. So I've got a few concerts in the country, which I will do. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at this, like, you know, is everything happening in the world? Like, it's really hard to ignore that and kind of. Because before I was always more focused, I mean, while I was following what's happening around the world, like my life and my wishes was more connected to me and my family, and kind of, you know, I didn't have to think about what's happening around. But somehow last few years, so part of me is just like, it's just wishing that more about the surroundings, that the world finds its I mean, I just wish there was generally more compassion around in the world, like just as and in a way, I feel like also art is the best way to promote that. Partially, kind of career-wise, I would love to, in a way, contribute as much as possible. Like, say, I'd love to perform to the wider audience, in a sense, not just ballet audience, but kind of reach more people. Like, I've been doing a lot of collaborations with other art forms just to kind of see what can get out there, because I feel like, well, with the tools I have, that's the best I can do to kind of just get people to think a little bit more, relate a little bit more, maybe just, you know, slow down and pay a bit more attention. I just feel like with a bit more understanding and compassion, maybe certain things could improve and on the social level. And so I would say that's the direction I'm thinking.
My wishes for the future, I want to continue working what I do now. I want to expand my online business much more. This is something I realized during all the lockdowns. People love spending time at home cooking with families, and it's a nice new way of cooking and coming to people. Because if I just have my cooking school here in Vienna, which is beautiful, it's a nice way, but not everybody come to here. It's limited in space. I can't deal with too many customers at the same time. With online courses, I can teach to people everywhere, whether they're on a small little island in the Northern Sea or in Amsterdam or in the US. These are also stories that happened to me. people join for the cooking class from unknown places. I had someone who wanted to do the sushi course. He asked me if I could send the recipes 2 weeks in advance because the boat only goes to the island once per week. So he needs to get his shopping done. Or there was this one story, there were 3 parties involved. The son, he was living in LA. Then I think the grandmother or the aunt was in Innsbruck, and then there was also one family member in Germany, and they all wanted to make dumplings. And there were 3 countries involved, so also we needed to tweak the recipes. In Austria, in Germany, it's easy to find all the ingredients, but how about buying bread? I don't even know the English word. It's not breadcrumbs, bread cubes. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Like a crouton.
A crouton, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, go and find that in LA. I'm sure it is somewhere there, but also the bread is different. I can remember he had a Jewish roommate, so bacon was not an option. So he wanted to do it. I think they decided on pastrami. This is also what I really like about the online courses. It's not just me doing things, it's interactive. People tell me, oh, look, I have this thing at home, can I use it? Or I don't eat bacon or pastrami, I live in the middle of nowhere. What can I buy in a regular supermarket? This is how I can also make what I do better and make it more accessible for everyone.
That is a very deep question. Well, I think if I were to talk long term, I think I would love to play music professionally. I think that's my new kind of mentality that I've adopted over the last year. I would love to play professionally. I just have to figure out how, because I still owe time in the military, which means that I'm going to move again. I'll leave France sometimes next summer. But music is my passion. I mean, it is. And, I like all types of things that are entertainment, restaurants, bars, hotels. I would love to be in the service industry. I am involved in the service industry in some ways. But I would love for music to become my life. And so I guess if that answers your question, I would like to play professionally. But it's going to be a little while before I can get there. So it's funny that what I've decided was in my head, I told myself, if I want to prove myself, if I want to show that I can be in that world amongst professionals without having been professionally trained, without having any credentials from a musical university, I told myself, I'm going to learn one of the hardest pieces that exists. Yeah. So right now I'm working Rachmaninoff's 3rd piano concerto, and I'm maybe 6 pages in, and it is a monster, but I'm learning it. And I figured if I...
You're banging the piano.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yeah, the piano suffers routinely.
Well, I'm very grateful to be in Safi, and I'm going to hopefully get my command upgrade very soon, within the next 5 years. With the Safi expanding, hopefully it might be even sooner. With my MBA that I've just recently graduated in December, I'd really like to get involved with some projects in Safi so that I don't let that degree. I'd like to get it working, in operations and project management. With all the new routes that they are going to expand with, I can at least then start looking at that. And I'd love to just get involved in management. There aren't a lot of women in management roles in airlines itself. So it would be nice to get involved in management, get involved in, still fly, but use both skills in the airline and stay in South Africa. I really hope that I can just stay here and enjoy being in South Africa and flying for South African airline, for Safi.
Wow, my wish for the future. My wish. I think I'm very settled where I am, and I think my wish certainly for the South African wine industry is that we sort of start picking up. Getting a defined regional identity. For me, it's like, France or Europe, they've got this very, very focused regional identity. And I think in South Africa, previously, it was all about diversity, and it still is. And we've got the most amazing, diverse floral kingdom. And but really, I think in regions, there's still a very there's a lot of differentiation about which varieties work well in certain regions, and I think that it's slowly starting to should I say it's slowly starting to form this sort of regional identity. And I think and so coming with that means that regions can start working together to promote their region collectively rather than separately. So yeah, that's I think where we're heading.
Well, I think I am ambitious, definitely. And I think I also had a very good development with my voice and just in general, my musicality and everything. I think every opera singer wants to sing on the big stages. Staatsoper, Met, whatever. Yeah. I think that's a good, might be a good thing to aspire to get there. But I'm also aware that it's very hard to get there and that it might not happen. But I think what would be good for me in the near future is to be in a small theater, just where I can sing a lot without having a pressure of having to, for instance, if I would start now at Staatsoper, I might survive, but I think for a young singer to already start in such big houses might be detrimental in the end. Because there in these big houses, you're one person, or you're like one, how do you say, Zahnrad in the machinery. And usually you're there for a while and then you're gone again because you're spent or whatever reason. So I would love to spend the next couple of years in a small theater in the ensemble there. Just do my roles, eventually also having bigger roles. But definitely for the future, or the further future, I would love to experience also the big houses. But I also have to say, I'm not someone who says I want to experience them, but I don't have to necessarily be like the primo uomo there, or the first baritone or something like that, because I think in the end, for me at least, it's more important to be able to do my art than to have my art dictated by other people, if you understand what I mean. I think in like smaller theaters, I can maybe how do you say, present my artistry a little bit more freely than if you go to like one of these mega houses where you're just like one person in hundreds. And
what specifically in music and
and life, it's anything.
It's hard to say specifically about, as a conductor, we didn't always have the greatest control of our destiny. People often ask, so where do you want to end up? And I'm like, I can't give you a specific city because it kind of depends on the openings. I think the best answer I could give you is to work with really passionate musicians who play at a really high level and with the management, whether that means that they're in Europe or here, that is open to trying new things. Something that I'm working on right now, just trying to make the logistics work of it, but is to do a production of The Rite of Spring on a farm outside with dancers and some sort of chamber orchestra, small orchestra, something, and make it part of an event that is exploring hopeful answers to climate change. So we're pretty inundated with like the world's going to end, and we all know about that. But like, what can we do about it? So those things really interest me. I'm interested in a lot of. I'm part of little social clubs or groups that we talk about infrastructure and boring things like civic design and sustainable agriculture and things. So I think it would be really interesting to literally bring the arts and the sciences together in that sense. To be like kind of like a rite of spring on a farm in the mud with a campfire, like Woodstock meets Stravinsky or something, or Burning Man.
Amazing.
That's a good question, Petra. No, I'd like to have the contract goes on as far as I possibly can, keep our medical up. That would be very nice. That's the first choice. And then secondly, I probably would get into a point where I've got to slow down a bit there, in the sense is that my wife and myself would like to take the caravan and go tour the country again. And just have a laid-back life and look at the up in the skies and
see how other people fly.
See how the other guys are flying, and so I think it's just to have a bit of a laid-back life and carry on. We got other stuff that we're busy, like for instance the bowling part of it, taking up bowling again, and obviously the caravanning, and get to see the country a bit there, because the southern part or even the Western Cape is that there's so many things still to see, and even if we go up to the Kruger National Park, that is one tick box that we still want to tick as well. It's just very expensive at the moment with the fuel at the moment. And to pull a caravan up that distance as well, it does make a bit of an expensive hobby. So unfortunately, that part is still a box to be ticked. But laid back life and get involved with the general aviation. And get the new guys up and running from what I've learned over these years. So I think that probably would put the cherry on the cake.
Well, what I am starting now is teaching more and more, and also people that are a little bit further along with their studies and helping them in forms of master classes and stuff like that. So I think this is a very interesting thing for me, trying to enrich my own playing and practicing through the practices of the past that I am sort of looking at through the doctorate, and trying to give whatever is useful to the younger people, the next generation. So,
yeah,
these are my wishes.
Yeah. That's a difficult one. I think it's getting more and more open.
Oh, really?
My field. And yes, I find it even hard after Corona. Like, what do I really want to do? I feel like I do take it also a little bit day by day, even more for some reason, just because we had that a little bit of not wasting time, but time being on hold. So now that we are getting back, I'm trying to kind of be in the moment as well. But for the rest, I just, also trying to stay healthy, my body healthy, and hopefully then some fun pieces, some new choreographers. It's always fun when you have some new rep coming up. And I think next season will be a bit more normal again. So I think we'll get some nice rep and some new faces, hopefully some new choreographers coming in. And I always enjoy that. Kind of breaks a little bit from the routine of maybe a same ballet that you've been performing, and it's always exciting to try some new styles, and I really love that. So I hope to still dance well for at least a few more years at least. But also maybe develop an idea of, hey, maybe what do I want to stay here? Do I want to maybe what am I also interested in? Maybe some hobbies. I really love photography a little bit. Like I try to do it a little bit in Corona just for fun with dancers. Maybe do I want to stay in that maybe? And somehow I feel like, I'm trying to look a little bit outside as well to see maybe some ideas or what can I do with ballet, bring it closer to people. Maybe do I want to Belgium for some reason, maybe more in performance. It will stay in that genre, I'm sure. I think that would be the easiest. Sometimes I also think, maybe I want to study something completely different, to go completely away from the ballet world. But I think it's going to be hard because it's something that's, you know so much about it. You have a lot of knowledge. So, but somehow maybe combine it in some.
A wish for the future. To carry on doing this until, and I don't plan to stop doing this type of thing. I mean, I want to pop up somewhere and do some outrageous stuff. We have a piece dove that we build, and this, I'm putting it out there because actually maybe this might inspire something. In Germany, every 5 years, there's an exhibition called Documenta. You might know of it. And people are invited. Kentridge was invited. We were taken by a good friend of ours, Shane and myself, as a wedding gift to go and visit Documenta in 2012. And I was blown away by the work, because not only is it the work, but it's also the stories behind it, all about humanity and society and looking at stuff, re-looking at stuff, and really unpicking stuff and looking at where we come from. And you meet people in those environments. You're from Africa, but people are just like you as well. They're also wanting to get involved. Anyway, another German client of ours who's bought a lot of work from us, we were talking now recently, they have a home in Hermanus, and they were going back to Berlin. And I said, you know, it's Documenta this year. She said, yes, I know it's Documenta. I said, I really want to do something on the, I don't have to be invited, but let's talk about doing something on the fringe. She said, well, so what do you want to do? I said, I want to do the peace dove. There's a suspension bridge over the Fulda River near the Orangery. And there's a huge big Klaus Oldenburg pick that's actually stuck into the ground next to it. And I said, you know what I'd love to do? I'd want to do an explosion or of peace doves, actually create this incredible cloud of peace doves that you walk through on this suspension bridge. But I said, it's got to be done overnight, where the installation isn't there in the evening, but overnight it suddenly happens, and in the morning there's this boom of peace. I said, that's what I would like to do now. So wow. Yeah, so it's lots of talking and lots of that type of thing. But you know, I believe that if there are lots of hands who are willing people to do things, I think that we could actually do something like that. So